All right, welcome in everyone. We are live and we are BTB Analytics here talking NFL Week 9. You know the drill. We got a lot of games to break down. We got some off the numbers. We got data. We got angles. You're not going to want to miss it. Any of it. So let's start.
Give a damn about a hater when I feel like it. Not today, not today, not today, not tomorrow. Get out my way, please. I'm trying to get paid. Not today.
All right, Week 9 is upon us. It's crazy. A lot has happened so far through this point in the season. Um, I want I really there's really no easy segue into this, but I want to ask the question to you guys. Thursday night football, the Houston Texans and the New York Jets. Uh Steve is having some technical difficulties, looks like. So he is frozen in time. He will join us later. But I guess I pose the question to you, Seth.
Yes.
Uh is it possible for an organization to fire a coach twice in one season?
Oh, like you think they're going to fire the interim?
Because things have not been going well for
No.
the Jets really since they fired Robert Saleh. And as luck would have it, full transparency, our model is on the Jets this week. You know, it was hella CLV though. We got +1 Jets. This is now at -1.5, I think, mostly across the
-2.
market.
-2 and 2.5.
-2. Shout out. Yeah, so I guess give me, I say that obviously somewhat in jest, but give me the analysis from your perspective on this one. And number one, why you think the market has moved so much, and number two, what you're expecting out of this probably an absolutely incredible Thursday night game.
Yeah, I mean, we got spoiled last week. We finally had a good game. Yeah, I mean, look, I think I want to say a couple things about the Jets. Look, we were high and low on this team somehow simultaneously. Our models that we run preseason showed that the Jets were probably going to struggle. A lot of the anecdotal data pointed that the Jets could have a lot of synergies in a good season. And as of right now, it looks like the models were right. Now, the one thing I want to point out about that loss last week against New England that everyone's kind of talking about, you know, the Drake May had a concussion. Jacoby Brissett came in, so you got back to a veteran quarterback. You have a team that has beaten the Jets year after year after year. And let me remind you that the New England defense is still really good. They haven't been so good through, the first 7 games of this season, but
Yeah.
that's why you need to use a larger sample. And in that 15 game sample, the New England Patriots, they are a top 10 defense. So, I'm not as concerned about last week's game as maybe the market is. And I think, there's a couple reasons why I think the market's buying. One, Houston has some pretty brutal injuries with Stephon Diggs going down ACL tear. And then is it not Nico Collins is also still on IR.
Right.
So 2 of their biggest weapons out. That's a pretty big deal. And I do think here what's driving this is more of that 15 game, more let's call it smoothed out sample here. And in that, the Jets have a top 5 defense. Now they haven't really played up to that level up into this point. But that's what I think the model's picking up here is what this team could be when we apply basically our priors. What does Shogun say?
Yeah, Shogun's like, all they need to right the ship is one more former Packer player on the Jets now. So
Hey,
shout out Geronimo.
hey, Randall
Allison.
Cobb's out there. Okay, Shogun. Randall Cobb could be on this team next week. He may even already be on the practice squad.
Yeah. There was I don't know if you saw this floating around or not, but just another one of those kind of feather in the caps of how this season has been kind of a disaster, so to speak, from the Jets perspective. So in NFL history, there were 750 examples of teams scoring 20 points and not turning it over and allowing fewer than 250 yards. And all 750 of those teams won those games, except for the Jets last week. They scored 20, they didn't turn it over, and they allowed fewer than 250 yards.
Exactly. We're buying as low as you possibly can buy. Also, I want to point this out about the Texans. 4 of their games this season in their elite defense against rookie quarterbacks. Okay, this is the opposite of rookie quarterback. Okay. And is this the game where Devontae gets going? We'll find out.
Yeah, you know what? To that point, like, I wonder if probably not. I mean, the sample size is probably just way too small, not enough observations. But you have a guy who you've heard the talk about Aaron Rodgers being washed, and a lot of other guys hanging around in the league far too longer than they should. And then, how much, and then their play obviously regressing. Obviously not to the point of like a rookie, or they wouldn't play like a rookie per se, but do guys in the twilight of their career, presumably, Aaron Rodgers fit into this bucket here,
Yeah.
do they all of a sudden start trying to do things that they are no longer able to do? Or that they used to even do just a couple years ago, and then that leads to either whatever off, bad timing, just bad throws, turnovers, all these different types of things. So I agree with you though. Like this is a very very buy low spot, and I mean, again, we got literally probably the best number you could have gotten. We got a +1, so
Yeah.
those
I
are
mean, all dead numbers, unfortunately, right? +1, 0, -1, -1.5, -2, all meaningless. Maybe some value at 2, but look, injury. I mean, you're getting to buy some veteran quarterback play, on a short week. I think that definitely has got to be, plays a role here, no doubt about it. Obviously, Houston's down two of their biggest weapons offensively, and we don't have any data on what that's going to look like. Yeah, I think win or lose a draw. The one thing I do want to point out here from a modeling standpoint, one thing I wanted to double check here, because Stroud's in this kind of weird area of his career in our model where like we don't use any of his first 12 starts, and then we're using this like smaller sample now. So I ran this model with all of his data and then how we quote unquote normally run the data, and both are show value on the Jets. So
okay.
that's why I felt comfortable betting it and giving it out. And I think win, lose, or draw here. I think we're as most aligned with using data as we can get. So I think win, lose, or draw, it's good. But we can cover by a field goal. Makes me feel comfortable.
Yeah, 100%. And
we've seen this offense click. It hasn't happened. It happened in fits and starts.
Yeah, like
but
for
it has
quarters at a
happened.
time. I'm not even sure they've thrown a whole game together yet, but
Probably
not. Yeah. Nonetheless, this one couldn't. I said this once before. I hope I'm wrong, because I was wrong that time too. But this could possibly be the ugliest game of the week.
Houston's defense is good, but again, 4 rookie quarterbacks. Are you going to see the same mistakes? I mean, are you going to be able to see the same mistakes that you saw in Anthony Richardson last week, where he's throwing picks where he shouldn't be, like two completions? Like you're just not going to get play like that, I don't think, out of Rodgers.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, Thursday Night Football, over under. Oh, hold on, Shogun Mike, over under for the Jets penalties this game, 13.5. Oh, are they?
Total penalties or yards?
It's got to be 13.5 penalties, I would imagine. Yeah. Are they a highly penalized team?
They must have 13.5. Jeez.
That's a huge number, Mike. You better hammer that under. All right.
This is gross. This is gross. That means you're making good bets. I can't put it more. This is the NFL. The grosser the fucking bet, the better the bet is.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm not hating.
Oh,
hey, special guest appearance, Steve.
They can't keep me down.
They can't keep it down.
Back in the saddle after technical difficulties.
Hopefully the Jets either. They can't keep the Jets down either.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on though.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you agree with Shogun?
Not this week.
Yeah, let's hope. All right, moving on from Thursday Night Football, let's head to the Sunday slate. First up, let's go and talk about the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. So another game where the models on this one, we are on Bills -6. Our number makes this -9 here. So yeah, Tua, 1 game sample size with Tua coming back from injury, and he looked fine. He actually slid on a scramble, and it was progress, baby, progress. So our model likes the Bills here in this one, and interesting, I guess. Seth, remind me, or can maybe one or both of you guys can remind me, did Tua miss any games last year?
Yes.
Okay. So in our rolling sample, how many of those games that we're pulling the data from do not include Tua?
I don't know off the top, but he didn't play in that playoff game, I don't think, right? In Kansas City, the super cold game.
Oh, he didn't play?
I don't believe so. I believe he was injured. Am I making that up?
I don't know. Maybe someone in the comments can fact check us on that one.
Eric, but I mean, it's a 15 game sample, and in that 15 game sample, I think he missed 3 games this season, or was it 4?
3. He went on IR, so he missed 4.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, in that 15 game sample, at minimum, he's missed 4 of those games. So he's, 11 of these data points are from him. It's not good. It's not good. When we think of Miami, we kind of think of this really potent offense. In the last 15 games, Miami's offense is 23rd passing, 29th rushing. Not very good. When we think about the Bills, we think about a really good offense. They're really good. 3rd passing, 5th rushing. Now, the one thing I will say is everybody was hating on Miami's defense going into the season. They did lose a lot of pieces, and those pieces do look
Yeah.
pretty good at other teams. But this Miami defense hasn't fallen off a super big cliff. 17th against the pass, 11th against the rush. So, you could say the same things about Buffalo. There were questions there. They're 9th against the pass, 7th against the rush. To me, this is quarterback play. We talked about Tua.
Yeah.
We don't know what we're getting. Obviously, he's coming back from this injury. At any point, this offense could get hot. But when we're looking at the quarterback play in the last 10 games, Allen is adding 9.5 points per game, which is 2nd in our database. Tua, 13th. He's adding 1.9 points per game. So we're getting a whole bunch of different quarterback play here. And I think we're on the right side with Allen.
Yeah.
This is just, again, can Miami get right at any moment? Maybe. And this is a divisional game. I mean, the first time they played earlier in the season when he got knocked out, Tua got knocked out. This was somewhat of a close game, but Buffalo was covering 6 by then. So it'll be interesting to see what this divisional matchup has to offer. But I think we're on the right side here with the Bills and the models picking up the much, much better quarterback play from Allen.
Yeah, for sure. So, Steve, I mean, how much is Tua's runway for being back? Like, is he done? Is he back to normal now? And is this a situation where, yeah, this defense, or excuse me, this offense flips a switch and goes back to what a lot of people maybe presumed it was going to be coming into the season? Um, or
Yeah,
does Josh Allen just keep doing Josh Allen things, MVP Allen all the way?
yeah. Well, I think those are 2 separate things. I think they're both are I wouldn't say both are true because I don't know. I mean, I'm not a neurologist. I don't know what Tua's going to be like. If he's ever going to be normal again, to be fair. With that being said, the offense did look pretty damn good in his first day back. He missed 5 weeks. He got injured, like Seth mentioned, in this Bills game when they lost 31-10. Just to kind of button up some things, he missed, I said, 5 games this year. He missed no games last year. He did play in
Oh,
that
okay.
KC game.
He did. Okay.
Yeah, where they
All right.
lost there. So,
So 5 of
you
the
know,
15. Okay.
yeah. So, I mean, this is one of the ones. I mean, I was definitely looking at this and a little bit concerned if we can pull up the graphic, the card there. I think what makes me a little more comfortable in trusting this number is that the model prediction has it -9. Steph, do you remember what the raw number? Not to put you on the spot, but do you remember roughly? Like,
I
was
don't.
it more egregious than this? Okay, that's fine.
I could do some algebra to get to it, but
Oh, no, that's fine. My point being that, the stats you see on this screen for Miami, I think it's completely unfair to say that's the Miami team that's going to show up this Sunday against the Bills. With that being said, though, we have seen this matchup already. Yes, it was earlier in the season, week 2, I think it was, but this Bills offense is legitimate. And so even though you expect to get a huge bump with Tua back, I don't think it matters in the sense that I still feel very comfortable with the Bills covering a 1 possession game here because we've seen Josh Allen spread the ball across all those receivers, tight ends, running backs, etc. And oh yeah, by the way, you add in Amari Cooper, give him another week with the playbook there, another weapon that they should have here. So I feel pretty comfortable with this, and I think Josh Allen is going to keep doing Josh Allen things throughout this season.
Yeah, the market has not touched this one since open. Circa opened at 6, and there's been nothing, zero movement whatsoever. So yeah, just I guess I'm a little surprised. I don't know if there's
but Pinnacle has taken action. No, they opened
uh
it at 6.5 as well. So no
yeah,
action there.
they've at least flipped the odds a little bit, trying to juice up one side or the other here and there, but it's been 6.5
Yeah.
from the get.
I mean, we're only on Tuesday though.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Nonetheless, it should be a fun one though. I think yeah, Tua Dolphins finally back where they should be. Bills playing well, very well. I forget if we talked about this or what compelled me to do it, but 2 weeks ago, I think it was now, we talked about Josh Allen, the turnover machine, Josh Allen, and him not having, tongue in cheek, having 0 turnovers to date, or I think at least as of a week or 2 ago. So I took a unit for Allen MVP when he was at like plus 50 or plus 550, I think it was. And there's already positive cash out value on that one. And I should have sent that in the group chat. Sorry.
It's
But
a good bet.
yeah, I mean, he's playing really, really well. And it's just very fun to see. A lot of people, his critics or haters, whatever you want to say, pretty silent so far. So
Has he
Josh
thrown a
Allen.
pick yet, or did he finally throw his first one last week?
Yeah, somebody has to fact check me on that, but I know as of last week he had not thrown one yet. I don't know if he threw it in this past week.
Okay,
Nonetheless, we ride with Allen, baby.
Godspeed.
All right, another Sunday matchup. Let's go to one where there's a lot of change. So Minnesota Vikings and the Indianapolis Colts. Colts announced that they are benching Anthony Richardson. Which, all right, why are you pissed, Seth?
Because our model really liked this bet against Anthony Richardson. It still likes it against Flacco, but man, Anthony Richardson just playing like shit. And
Okay,
this defense
Let
going
me
up
back up
against
just for a second. Our
Okay.
producer Eric confirming that Josh Allen has only one pick on the
So you
season.
must have thought he threw a pick
yeah,
last week.
yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
Sorry.
still it's pretty good. Yeah, but long story short, our model loves this play. It loves the Vikings, throwing Flacco, throwing Anthony, trade back Minshew. Doesn't matter who you throw in here. This team has definitely, the Colts have kind of underperformed, and especially at Richardson at the helm. Again, that's kind of why I'm upset. I mean, the model likes it either way. We bet it either way. But I love this bet against Richardson going against that defense. Now, the one thing, I mean, I can go through all the team stats here, but one of the things that caught my eye, because this is something we cashed in later in the season. Everyone was glazing Flacco being on the Browns because the Browns, being the Browns, were getting pretty abysmal quarterback play. And then Flacco stepped in and it was like, oh my gosh, he's incredible, blah, 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 blah. In his last 10 games, Flacco, EPA per game, how many points he's added compared to an average quarterback, negative 2.2. Okay, negative 2.2 points. He's not some world beater. We bet against him in the playoffs. He struggled. And I think he will struggle against this really good defense. And so, I mean, ultimately, I think that's really what the model's picking up here. And the Colts really haven't showed us a whole lot. And they're going to go up against probably the best defense they've played so far.
Yeah. Shut up. All right, Jonesy's got a question for us. We gotta speak on the AR tapping out situation. Don't tell me this had nothing to do with his benching. I think on internally it probably did to some extent. I don't have a hot take on it, but my only visceral thought to it is how many other skill position players or just players in general take plays out after wide receivers after running a long route
100%.
down the field.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them. So I get it optically, like there's the highest paid person on the field, quarterback, leader, yada yada. But from a human physics standpoint, it's not that crazy of a thing, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
but you have we seen Lamar do this?
Right.
No.
Well, no, hold on. We've not seen Lamar do that, but let's not forget Lamar
Drooping
did.
himself?
Yeah, exactly. He did. He began to go take a shit, but I get those are.
Yeah, shitting and running are different.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
assuming
not
we
a
can
good
all
look.
agree here. If you had to tap out because you're out of breath, it's very different than you having to tap out because you're going to shit yourself.
What if you're out of breath because you shit yourself?
Yeah.
Then shitting, the hierarchy is then the shitting yourself always takes precedent.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really have it definitely.
The optics
I
are
think
good at the very
Micah
least.
Parsons got this the most right. Just lie. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Why are you telling me the truth? Like, yeah, like my fucking helmet couldn't work, whatever, something like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's tough because one, like you said, though, in all seriousness, you don't see running quarterbacks like the Lamars, the Fields, etc. People who are more active across the field take a play off, even though we see linemen, receivers get subbed out all the time because of their importance. And I think, I don't think it's quite as big of a deal. It's weird because you don't see it all that often. But then you also have these other former quarterbacks, like AJ McCarron was on a podcast, like, oh, I would never take myself out the play. And I've been, tired and broken, shoulder, blah, blah, blah. So you got, former players also ripping in and weighing in. I appreciate the honesty. It was a bad move. I agree. I think he could avoid a lot of this, but I think he was trying to channel his inner Jameson Winston, his inner Jameis Winston, and kind of be that weird, quirky, whatever guy. But The optics definitely look bad. And I agree with you, Kevin. The timing is a little suspicious, although the play was absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, fair enough. So there you go, Jonesy. All right, I just want to bring up the Minnesota graphic one time real quick because I don't know if we said it overtly, but this is a model play for us. We'll talk about it at the end as well. We're on Vikings -6.5. Market has early in the week, unfortunately, not quite agreed with us, so you can get 5 or 5.5s now, but we'll see. Maybe it's a bit of an overreaction to the Flacco news because I think that just came down to this morning, right?
Today.
Or maybe
Yeah, it reopened basically at 5.
yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, and I think
Minnesota.
we talk about Minnesota. They started off 5-0 straight up and against the spread. I mean, they were absolutely kind of rolling. They had the bye week, and they've sort of slid now in 2 straight games. But I don't want to call this. I know we use this term the get right game, but let's be honest. The Colts aren't the same level of competition. I think you put Joe Flacco in. Yeah, he came in. I think it was against the Steelers. Was his first major playing time this year, and he came in sort of midway because of the Richardson injury concern there. So you had teams who didn't really have a chance to game prep for him. But to Seth's point, yeah, you had the Flacco hype, but then once you had teams in the playoffs, teams with time to game plan against them, and we've seen the tape as soon as last year. I think Brian Flores, DC for the Vikings, is absolutely going to have a game plan to stop Flacco. And I think the Vikings, Richardson or Flacco, yeah, may rather have AR from a betting standpoint, but I'm not afraid of Flacco in this get. I love this bet.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm
And
much more afraid of Flacco though than Anthony Richardson. That's
yeah,
my
Sure,
only-
sure. It's an uptick, but
yeah. And I don't know if this will
Who-
come into play this week, but Minnesota also did today trade for a left tackle to replace their I forget a guy's name, Darisaw, who was tore his ACL, did something bad to his knee. So
and Hawkinson potentially on pace to be back in this game.
okay, there you go. So it could be a couple of
So-
very
Who did Flacco play against? So he played against the Steelers?
yeah,
Yeah.
because that was my off the numbers that week. That's I remember watching that game.
Okay. And then did he play against the Jags the next week? He must have, right? Because he
Here,
started
let's-
against the Colts, or I mean the Titans. So he beat the Steelers, which is kind of impressive. And then he lost against the Jaguars, and then he beat the Colts. I'm sorry, the Titans by 3. And then I'm assuming AR was back against the Dolphins. I'm pretty sure he was. And they won that game. So I don't know. This Colts team's a little frisky. I don't know. I think
frisky.
I think we got the one thing I do want to point out in this game is we're model play Minnesota. We're going to have plays in this, no doubt, because Indianapolis is a bona fide pass funnel team. So you're going to want to be looking at all wide receivers, all quarterbacks. Sam Darnold for his yards, completions, receptions, completions, and I guess attempts. Yeah. So I mean, Indy is a bona fide pass funnel team. So you're going to want to be looking at those numbers. That market isn't up yet, so we can't run the sims. But I promise you, we will have some bets somewhere on that game. Indy is just the definition of a pass funnel team, and Minnesota, they are a pass first team. They're throwing the ball about 1% more than an average team. So this is a team that's going to want to throw it. It's a team that's going to probably go after that matchup. And I wouldn't be surprised here if we're on it a bunch of different ways.
Yeah. All right.
And just to clean that up for Flacco, he played against Pitt because of the Richardson injury, and then he started against Jacksonville and Tennessee.
Okay. So he went 1-1.
Yep, he went 1-1. Yep.
Okay. All right. Let's move on, boys, shall we? We're already on to the Monday night game. We're going Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Another model play for us.
All 4 of them are model.
I know. This is kind of one of those weird things. We don't always choose it this way, but we just choose the good matchups in our opinion. But yeah, we are on Bucs plus 9.5 on this one. Our model makes this 7, so good value at 9.5 there for us. Yeah, I'm curious on what happens, how the game plan and the script changes for the Bucs now that they are down their 2 best skill guys, right? That's obviously the big question going into this one. We've never really, I mean, when's the last time we saw Baker? Was it when he was on the Browns or maybe the Panthers, when he didn't have a quote unquote good supporting cast around him? So I don't know if they're going to really lean into him, and he's going to just be trying to sling it all around the field, or what they're going to do, frankly. But this one feels this one feels weird to me. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it's weird, and unfortunately, I think it's the worst time to buy Tampa Bay. And I mean, the model doesn't know this; it's just
Yeah.
using play-by-play data, and unfortunately, it doesn't know that two of its most important offensive players aren't going to be available. And what happens here is, if you actually start breaking down these numbers, Tampa Bay is the 8th overall passing team, 7th rushing team, and then Kansas City is the 12th overall passing team and 8th rushing team. The interesting thing here is Tampa Bay's defense struggles this year, 23rd defending the pass, 18th defending the rush. So what I fear here is a similar game that happened for Kansas City versus New Orleans, where their actual New Orleans couldn't really stop Kansas City, and they kind of could do whatever they want, even though this is not a super potent offense in Kansas City. And unfortunately, the numbers kind of would show that Tampa Bay should be able to keep up in a shootout, but the reality here is I'm not sure if that's true here anymore. We kind of don't know what we're buying with this offense, so it's an uncomfortable spot, no doubt about it. And I think, unfortunately, just due to the injuries, it may be a kind of the worst time to buy.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, there was a 9.5s out there. This is 9 or 8.5s now in a couple of spots. Circus hanging a 9, Pinnacle at 8.5. So maybe it was a little too rich for the market spot
Well,
there.
but we've seen. I mean, you asked the question of what are they going to do without Godwin and Evans, and we saw that last week. Though I mean, Kate Otten went absolutely ape shit, and they put Bucky Irving a lot more into not just the running game but the passing play. So there's a recipe here. Now, can Kansas City stop that? Is remains to be seen. You can't be
Yeah.
caught off guard now because you know what they're going to try to do when feeding Otten the ball, but he is a more than capable receiver. Now, that being said, yeah, this one scares the shit out of me. This is the one I feel the most uncomfortable about. And for things that Seth just said, but also you have those numbers, and this is going to be a full practice week for DeAndre Hopkins. And I'm torn here because as DeAndre Hopkins the man, I'm excited for him to not be on a team that sucks. Because I think he's one of the career underrated receivers in the NFL. It just sucks that it's happening this week. But Andy Reid has already come out and said he expects DeAndre Hopkins to be far more involved in the offense, which is just going to make things a lot
Yep.
worse against the Tampa Bay pass defense. Like Seth mentioned, that leaves some stuff to be desired.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
Uncomfortable.
so
This
yeah,
game,
it
this game
is.
seems like you could almost avoid it. Like,
Yeah,
if you're
but
from the just too many injuries, you almost can kind of.
yeah, it's one of those ones where we obviously any model, frankly, can't account for every single player situation type of thing. But yeah, I mean, I can't think of any up top of my head. Maybe you guys can. Where we've come across situations where we've identified value with the model, but then we call it this injury, that injury. Oh, is it worth it? And some of them hit, some of them don't. There's just
Yeah.
kind of the nature of it. So we've been on both sides of it. We'll continue to be on both sides of it. But it's one of those things where you're trusting the process still. So
Agreed.
all right,
9.5's a lot. They couldn't cover 9.5 against the BTB killer and Gardner Minshew. So
shut up.
I don't
All
think
right.
we've seen that much variance in a long time. 3 last drives to rule them all.
Yeah. Oh
Dude,
my God. Yeah.
That talk about witching hour. Oh my god. Yeah, that was
Talk about witching drive. Literally just the last drive for all of the games. Like,
yes. Took about a year off my life probably when it's all said and done. All
yeah,
right, let's hit zoom out.
$1,800 swing.
Yeah, let's hit zoom out a little bit here. Let's talk about NFL landscape. When not a ton of great matchups, I guess, in this week. But yeah, let's hit zoom out here. Okay, Seth, I think I want to get your take first on your the enigma. I don't want to say you've been hating on them, but the enigma that continues to be the Washington Commanders. Obviously, the last second Hail Mary, yada yada, play of the year type of
We're not
stuff.
talking about it. We're
Yeah,
not
don't
talking
ask
about
me,
it.
ask Steve.
I'm not going to get the truth from Steve.
Okay, well, I'll tell you the truth. What a wonderful day. In a day of unluck, that was a great lucky thing to happen. I mean, so big for our under 8.5 Chicago wins
Bears,
and
yeah.
for them to not make the playoffs. That couldn't have been a better outcome for us. No, I'm becoming a believer. I mean, the problem is I just
Ooh,
don't know how deep they can go with their defense. Um, they had some incredible things bounce their way in order to make it out of the live that game. And I mean, I think even Steve would admit this Chicago offense is it's got a rookie at the helm, and it's pretty clear they're not world beaters there. Their defense, on the other hand, is just killing it. And
mhm.
Washington had some success there. So I think that's pretty impressive. But I think unfortunately we need to learn when Steve says jump, we jump because I mean he was spot on like 3 or 4 weeks
Yeah.
ago when he said Washington to win that division. I mean that now seems like a steal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the odds are. Did you pull the trigger on that, Steve?
No, no, no. I committed. Yeah. No, I did not. I
Yeah,
really should have.
that's okay. All right. Yeah. But yeah, nine weeks into the season, I think most of the haves and have-nots are starting to crystallize a little bit here. We'll talk about quote unquote in the quadrant of elite here, top right corner, good offenses, good defenses. Um, behind is that's the Packers behind the Chiefs, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't quite, yeah. Um, I want to get your guys' take and maybe your take, Steve, first on the Steelers because whatever Mike Tomlin's got going on over there, he put some funky shit in the water, man. Like he just knows. I don't care. It doesn't matter who the hell the quarterback is. Presumably, like they just know what they're doing there, and that is another division potentially that could be up for grabs. Like, do they have a legitimate shot at the AFC North?
Yeah, I mean, you have to put them in the conversation. I think from a talent wise, it's still Baltimore's division to lose, and then don't sleep on the Bengals. I know something now we talked about that I think a couple of weeks ago, looking at
Yeah.
the futures and running the sims on that as that team starts to get healthy and all their pieces back. But yeah, I mean, it's not surprising. I mean, Mike Tomlin is a coach that just does not have losing seasons. I forget going back how many years he puts teams together, whether it's a Kyle Rudolph or excuse me, Kyle Mason Rudolph or Kenny Pickett or Mitch Trubisky or Justin Fields or
What?
Russ Wilson. Like
What?
this, yeah, right. This guy just knows how to win. And again, it's a system where kind of like Chicago has been historically, you have a great defense. You let your offense run. You don't have to do anything too fancy. Just don't lose us the game. And I think that's where Russ is going to shine. And I find it very interesting because that's the kind of defensive system Denver had when he first got there. And now it's only been 2 games here, but Russ certainly looks a lot better here than he did there. So yeah, I think got to put him in the conversation for sure. Wild card spot, and then anything can happen in the playoffs.
I think follow the money. If you see them trade for a wide receiver here at the deadline, I think
Mhm.
that's a big data point that they're just as serious. They're more serious than anybody. Because Russ looks good.
Yeah.
Russ looks good, and you add another piece there to Pickens, like that's a scary team right now. So I would be curious. There's been some chatter there for some big names. What actually ends up coming down there for that team. I
Yeah, best number in the market. We'll see if this is available. This is not in line with the market, but BetMGM has plus 375. Everywhere else is like plus 210 or plus
yeah,
200.
it's
So
probably not real.
yeah, probably not real, but
Yeah, we
We've
got
been
full
through
of
this
that.
stance before.
Yeah.
yeah.
What Shogun asked about the Eagles? Are the Eagles real?
Yeah,
Your
are they
guess
are
is as
they
good as
getting it
mine.
together? I mean, they had their bye a couple weeks ago, right? And then they come out of that and play the Bengals and kind of whoop that ass. Yeah,
But are the
I agree with
Bengals
you, Seth.
bad? Are the
I think
Bengals
that's more what it is. Yeah, I think the Bengals are a team that is just not as good as forecasted this year. And hey, shut out, under 10 and a half.
now that the Eagles are getting pieces back. I mean, AJ Brown was out for a number of games, so I mean they could get going at any time. I don't know. I'm not an Eagles fan, so it's hard. That team is a very interesting team. At weeks, it looks like they've got it figured out, and then the next week, it looks like they have nothing figured out. Speaking of having nothing figured out, just free fall. They can't. I think it's clear that Carolina's just going to stay the worst team, but the Saints are putting some a little bit of run for their money, man. This is just a team in free fall.
Yeah, who leads the odds in terms of next coach to be fired? It's either Dennis Allen.
It's got to be
Shit, I
him.
bet I don't know, Mike McCarthy's up there, but Doug Peterson's probably up there too. Uh, but it's got
Yeah.
to be a 2-horse race between those guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right, Seth.
But to be fair, though, I mean, Derek Carr might be back this week. And who knows now it's they have no room to spare to your point, Seth.
Yeah.
Like this is the season's already like it's now or never. And so if they don't come back hot, yeah, that's game over. But I think the bigger for me, at least the bigger issue is Spencer Rattler is not the answer you thought he was,
No,
backup or not. And
Not
then
yet.
they had
Yeah.
some issues with Olave being hurt with the
yeah,
concussion and things like that. So, but I do agree with you. Even before the injuries happened, they were already regressing. Yeah, they got off to a blistering start. You saw that regression and you thought, okay, well, yeah, you can't sustain that pace forever. But even then, they start to slide more and more and more. So I do agree where there's smoke, there's fire. But I'm curious to see if Derek Carr can put that
yeah.
fire
I mean,
out.
no doubt they've been hit by injuries like
Right.
no other team, but it's literally that one play on fourth down or it was on third down when they played the Eagles and somehow the
Oh
two
yeah.
defenders picked themselves. It literally that was like the end. Like if that pick doesn't happen, they win that game. Somehow they stay healthy. Like it just feels like that one play like sent their season into a whole other realm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
our futures that we have over 7.5 wins for Minnesota. That looks pretty good. Over 7.5 wins for Saints. That looks pretty bad. But to your point, maybe I mean we're about halfway, so that that could go
Yeah.
one way or the other one, but that looks pretty poor. Under 10.5 for Cincinnati, under 9.5 for Atlanta. That's gonna definitely be tight. And then
Yep.
under 8.5 for Chicago. Again, another tight one. Now,
Yeah.
you still can't get the odds we have for the Bears. The best number I think in the market is plus 120. We have plus 140. So that's a good sign. And then what we had Jets and Eagles. So Eagles maybe could get hot.
Eagles, yeah, could get hot. I'm hoping, yes, which is a perfect segue, Seth. Let's move real quick to off the numbers here. So again, this is our chance to each individually pick a game or have a play aside from the model. Talk about how we're thinking about value and just kind of have a friendly banter, friendly competition throughout the season here. So you mentioned it, Eagles. I'll kick it off here. I'm actually on the Eagles this week, minus 7.5. I got them plus 102 over at DraftKings. So I had a little bit of a hit a little bit of a soft line. Market's still at 7.5
Yeah.
pretty much throughout, but you can't get plus 102 anymore. And to your point, and to the conversation about are the Eagles there? Are they getting it together? I'm less sold on that, but I'm more sold on the Jaguars just absolutely kind of shitting the bed. They haven't looked they've looked bad in several different games this year. They are now down two two of their weapons. Christian Kirk and Gabe Davis are going to be out. I think Christian Kirk's I don't know if he's going to go on IR or whatever, but um, it's not been pretty for them. They are abysmal defensively, and I'm banking basically on the Eagles not completely being ass and having one of those games where they figure it out offensively, which again, just going back to last week, kind of looks like they may have turned that corner, so to speak. But this, in my opinion, is more about the Jaguars in the next kind of potential free fall. And like I would not be surprised they get blown out here. Doug Peterson's gone. So
How did they cover against the Packers? I'll never understand.
the Jags.
Yeah. And why was the market buying that? I'll never understand that either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the aggregate, it's efficient, but it's wrong all the time, man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand it either.
Yeah. But to talking to Mike's point, and I mean, the Eagles have had one good win. I think that was the Packers week one, right? I mean, we talked about what happened with the Saints and sort
Yeah,
of
that's
that
fair.
that sort of fluke thing. Then they just beat up on teams that they should beat up on, and a question mark on the Cincinnati Bengals. But to your point, Kev, I think for me, to your point, you talk about EPA per play defensively. The Bengals, at least this year, are damn near towards the bottom, if not the bottom, and then
Oh, yeah.
this
They're
8 game sample
bad.
size. Yeah, exactly. So that does give you hope there. But I just Shogun Mike, I don't want you to get your hopes up. I'm not sure if you're a Philly fan or not. It just seems that they've gone through a stretch of poor teams. So when the competition gets a little stiffer, I'm not sure if they can go make that turn.
Okay, so I'm on Eagles minus 7.5. Seth, what do you got?
So first and foremost, I'm 1-4. So basically, the rest of the words coming out of my mouth, just ignore or even bet the opposite. I think that we talked about the Saints. I don't know. It's like it's the opposite of immovable object, unstoppable force, whatever. Like the opposite of those two things are. It's like the worst team in the NFL, and then the other team trying to be in a free fall. but I think I'm going to bet against the worst team, and hopefully we're going to see. I like this bet only if Carr's coming back. I think for me, 7 is quite rich if we're getting Rattler, but I think if Carr comes back, we can see this offense be efficient enough. We saw what they did week 1. They beat this team by 40. I think once all those pieces or most of those pieces kind of get more stability, you have a better quarterback at the helm, you can put up some points in that offense. Taysom Hill's back. Kamara's still okay to go. So yeah, give me 7 for the New Orleans Saints if Carr starts.
I mean, this opened at 6 and is now at 7. So if we do get some hints that Carr is indeed going to be back,
tomorrow's going to be a big day.
You might have some CLV, baby.
Wait, so can I ask a question though? What happens with your bet if Carr doesn't play? Is it just a void then, or what do we? How do we?
We can make up the rules as we go here. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not betting it. I'll tell you this: I ain't betting it until I know he's starting. I'm not in the business of burning money. I will go bet some other stupid shit then.
We'll give him a tie.
The NFL. I don't know how people how do people convince themselves they can win this stuff without models and stuff like. This is the NFL is so difficult to just look at and bet. You have to use some level of data, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, Steve, take us home. What do you got?
Yeah. Speaking of NFC East and looking at that, I'm taking the Commanders -3.5 over the Giants here. Again, we're not going to talk about what happened last week. We're not going to talk about Tyreek Stevenson
First of all,
trolling the crowd.
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt
the game. No, we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. But what I'm honing in on here is we've talked about all season how the Commanders' offense, essentially in almost every game except maybe 2 this year, has been sort of otherworldly, and that they can't sustain this, and it's improbable, and they're putting up numbers that are just unreal. Yet they find a way to do it. And New York's defense isn't bad. Like their Giants defense is surprisingly decent. It's agreed. The problem here though is the Giants offense is in no way, shape, or form able to capitalize on what is the Commanders' weakness, which is part of their defense there. So I'm taking Jaden Daniels to keep doing Jaden Daniels things with their offense, and the Giants not being able to keep up. So I'm going to take the 3.5.
Okay. All right. Let's pull up the recap here just so we can immortalize it. Girth Brooks, first of all, killer name, Girth Brooks. But Daniel Jones needs more weapons.
Photo.
And photo for that matter. But yeah, dude, I don't care if you give Daniel Jones all the weapons. I really don't know if that's going to save this man. But I digress a little bit. All right, week 9 off the numbers.
Maybe you just need a formation. Give him a formation.
Okay, yeah, shout out. I'm on Eagles -7.5. I am 4-1. Steve, Commanders 3.5, 2-3, and Seth, as he alluded to, 1-4. But we're on Saints -7. Yeah, if Carr doesn't start, I'll give you a push, man. I'll give you 1-4.
Oh dang. Hell yeah. Let's go. I hope he doesn't play just so I can get a push. That's what I need in my life right now.
Oh, I'm gonna be abusing this loophole all season long, man. If the Gatorade's not blue, I wanna push.
Fair enough. All right. I'm just throwing the man a bone here. He's 1-4, you know. All right.
I was gonna take Eagles like you. I thought about it.
You could.
No,
ain't no rules.
I don't like
that
winning.
to be your backup pick?
I don't like winning, like clearly.
Okay, fair enough. Let it ride, baby. All right, let's move on. Last part of the program, we got model predictions for the NFL Week 9 here. So, decent volume again. We got 5 plays overall. So, Seth, why don't you take us through the official plays this week?
Yep, where we are through 8 weeks. Model is 19-19. Full dip back down. We are unfortunately no longer profitable. 50-50. We're coughing up the vig. We had some brutal beats last week, but we look to bounce back. So first play is on Thursday Night Football. We are on Jets +1. We are then heading into Sunday. We are on Minnesota -6.5, Baltimore -8, Buffalo -6, and Tampa Bay +9.5. So yeah, some good, interesting. We've seen some value in some of these games. Some of them have moved against us, specifically the Vikings bet, and then some have moved in our favor, the Ravens and the Ravens, Jets, and Buccaneers at this point. So
yeah, the only one we didn't technically talk about, I guess, is the Ravens Broncos game here. So Yeah, we got this, like you mentioned, at 9. This is across the marketplace. There is DraftKings has a 9, but 9.5 everywhere else. So
Yeah, the nine's the last number I'd play.
yeah,
That's where, well, really the through the 10 is where you lose all your value, but I would stop playing it after 9. I think
yeah,
there is yeah, 9 over at DraftKings. Make every
yeah, yep,
moment less.
yep. DraftKings
Um,
has a 9 still, but I don't know. Just anecdotally, like we've had our qualms with the Ravens and Lamar Jackson in the past, in covering or failure to do so, but then also to do it with, for 10 to cover, he's got to win by 10, basically here in this case for us
yeah.
to win. So that one also feels interesting, but they're coming off that loss to the Browns and Jameis Winston. I mean, hopefully they are going to pull their head out of their ass a little bit and figure it out. But yeah,
I don't think that was a pulling head out of the ass. I think that was the truth speaking, and Cleveland has not wanted to
Agreed.
play for that quarterback. And this is the first time they're actually like, hey, we're a good team. Let's actually fucking try.
100%. Yeah.
And I think you got a bump there.
okay,
I mean, look, if we think about this, we saw the Baltimore Ravens play the most potent offense, which is Washington, and be able to cover that game. And so we're getting the opposite here, where Denver's defense really good. Their offense is dog shit. Eric, if you can bring up the efficiency landscape, Denver is one of the worst offenses in football right now. Yeah, you can see, but their defense is really, really good. So this is going to be, can they get efficiency? If they do, I think they can cover this. I think they can cover this number because you know we shouldn't see any efficiency out of Baltimore, or I'm sorry, Denver.
yeah,
Yeah.
offensively speaking, yeah,
And I think to that point too, Denver's defense is really good, but specifically their pass defense is really elite. Their rush defense is kind of middle of the road there, a
Yeah.
little bit, maybe a little bit of slightly above average. So that plays into Baltimore's strengths as well. So I'm with you there, Seth.
okay. Yeah, I'm hoping to get back into the win column officially and jump above that, above at least the VIG here. So hoping
Yeah.
for 3-2, if not better weekend for sure. So
Yeah.
should be good,
Denver
boys.
10th against the rush.
Okay, thank you.
Jonesy, taking us, leading us out here. His pregame speech is enough to make me run through a wall, baby. Yeah, where are Deshaun's pregame hype speeches at? That dude.
It does.
We,
You can't
they don't
type.
exist,
We're eating W's. Nom, 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 nom.
dude. I don't know where this man pulls it from, but thank God I
He
exist
is
at the same
good.
time as him, dude.
Yeah.
Because he is pure. He's just pure in every sense of the word.
Yeah.
So, all right, boys, it's been real. Should be a fun week ahead. Week 9 coming up. Week 10 just around the corner. Sheesh. We're gonna finally switch into November daylight savings time. Oh my God, season's changing. Times are changing. It's gonna be good. All right, everyone. Appreciate you tuning in to the show today. If you're here and still appreciate everything that we're doing, would appreciate you guys giving us a like on the
Yes.
video, and please subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Helps us out tremendously. We love to interact with you guys and love to continue to do this every week as well. So appreciate y'all being here. Seth, Steve, it's been real. We'll catch y'all next week. Good night and good luck.
Let's go.